Everyone, I'd like you to meet Tyler. Now, if you've been around the competitive SAP scene, you know exactly who Tyler is, but if you don't, he's one of the 18 captains in the current team tour, and he's also sort of one of the leading people in the dojo when it comes to content. He does weekly power rankings, he reviews sets, he makes a lot of good stuff, and he's a bit of a historian from what I gather. So I wanted to sit down with Tyler, and really, this is for people who aren't that familiar with exactly how competitive SAP works. This is a video where you're going to learn a lot about how it works, the history, and all these good things. Huge shout out to Tyler for doing this, and now let's get into the interview. Hi, I'm just Tyler TV.
Hello, man. Thank you for having me on. What's up?
Thank you for coming. We're definitely not re-recording this intro because I messed up.
No, not at all.
All right, so there is a Star Pack run happening in the background. That's just for people with low attention spans.
I respect it.
Okay, so I, as I said in the first time we recorded this, here's my notepad with a bunch of lines for the interview. People can meme on me for the notepad. It's getting results.
True, that did carry you in your first set.
Yeah. It's. I'm old and it helps. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay, so this question I love asking people. We're gonna start here. How did you start playing SAP?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the first time I saw SAP, I was watching Ludwig stream, and I had no idea at all what was going on, and I was super confused. And then one day, me and one of my IRL friends were in a call, and I was like, hey, we should try this game because we have nothing better to do at all. So then, we downloaded the game, we did some 1v1s, and, it was fun, I think. It was about even. And so then I was like, okay, I kind of like the game. I want to get better. I never really played a game like Super Autopets before.
Yeah.
I was more into competitive games that were more like Valorant or like Fortnite or things like that had a bigger competitive scene.
Established.
Yeah. And I'm a very competitive person, so I hate being bad at things, which makes it really hard for me to get into new things. So then, I played Arena, and, molded because I couldn't win, like every player does when they first start.
Yep.
And then eventually, I was like, okay, I want to try to... eventually I started winning a lot. So I'm like, okay, I want to try to make this tougher. So then I started speed running Super Auto Pets.
Nice.
Because that was the biggest competitive thing I could see. So I speed ran, got like 7th or something. I don't know. It wasn't that impressive, but it felt cool. And then one day I saw a tournament called the Stands Invitational. I don't know if you know Stans, but
Nope.
Streamer who played SAP, one of Ludwig's friends. And he ran this big invitational tournament for SAP pros. It was like 16 people, and they did some weird format. And what they were pushing was this competitive Discord. So for all the people in Stan's stream to go join this competitive Discord and get into competitive Super Auto Pets. The main person pushing was a former member named Cass. They pushed a lot of competitive stuff super early on and was kind of like the ambassador per se for competitive. Right. So that's my long form answer of how I got into SAP.
See, and you've proved right there why you were the right person to do this interview with, because you've got the full history covered.
Yeah. I mean, I missed maybe the first month or two, but after that, I know.
Yeah. Ground zero. So my next question was, did this lead you to the dojo, which you answered? But then how did you fall into this role of sort of doing like the league coverage?
So at first the dojo wasn't a real thing. It was something called the Peanut Gallery. So I've talked about this a little bit before with some other people. And so what happened was there was like a competitive server, but then within the competitive server you had to get this peanut roll, and the way you got that, it was a very what's the word?
Unusual?
System. Yeah, it was very kind of elitist.
I heard that. I've heard about that.
So what you would have to do is you would have to one so you have to play one of the original members. So they had these people that they would ask to kind of perform tryouts of sorts. Um,
Like you had to prove
and
yourself.
yes, yes. So you had to like prove yourself, and if you were good enough, they would let you in. You had to like face the Titans or I don't know, something silly.
So it was like
Um,
exclusive, but almost to like a rude kind of way.
yeah, I mean, like they had a more public version, but everybody knew that to get into the real stuff, you had to do that. But
Yeah.
then eventually, more servers started building. So, for example, before there was ranked in Super Auto Pets, there was still the 1v1 scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a old school player named Donut Seeds. And he built his own ranked bot. So he built a
Hectic.
ranked bot, and then in his Discord he would run ranked. So
Mm-hmm.
you would queue into a Discord, and then you would get queued with somebody else who had an elo system that they made up and coded and all that. So what they would do, so then eventually they decided, okay, there was like three different servers. There was like the Peanut Gallery server, there was the Donut Seed Rank server, and then there was another server that would run like weekly tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
called, I believe it was Fortune Fiesta. That was ran by one of my friends, Rusty Shaggy.
What like time frame are we? What year was this?
Okay, so I those tournaments ran probably, I would want to say early 2023 is about where this time period is.
Yeah, right.
Because
So quite recent.
like I started getting into competitive in 20 like November, December 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So then pretty soon after that, these servers were kind of developing. So eventually they're like, okay, this is kind of silly to have all three of these servers be different
Right.
entities. So then that's how SAP Dojo formed. Those three servers that emerge, and then in the dojo we incorporated the ranked bot. We kind of took over the tournament running, and then we had the place where all of the top players still were at, and that's how Dojo became a thing.
My question was you doing coverage.
Oh, sorry. I sorry if I go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Dude, do it. Go
Um,
for gold.
okay.
But so I'm guessing
So,
after that, did you instant once the dojo sort of was established, did you start doing power rankings and set reviews straight away?
so yeah, that's a good question that I didn't answer the first time. Um, uh, sorry, it's my streamer brain. I just ramble on. Everybody knows I stall. So I actually didn't. So I've been in every single team tour season, a streak that I like to keep alive. Um, but at first I didn't do anything. I always kind of in the back of my mind thought, this would be kind of cool to do some coverage on, this league, and I really thought it was a cool idea from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I never did it. And eventually, I got so lazy that I didn't do it. That somebody named Lucid, an Australian player.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Yeah, shout out to the Aussies.
Yep.
That he started doing these team tour recap videos or whatever.
Yep.
I guess you would call them, or he would go over the matchups every week that you can vote on, and then he'd pretty much just say who his picks were and things like that. Well, last season, he stopped doing them in season 7, and because again, I had thought about this since really the first season, but I didn't want to alienate the audience and take over things that he was already doing.
Of course.
So I just let him have it, and I didn't want to deal with the work anyways. But he stopped doing them, and he like dropped out of last season or the season before that. I can't remember. Um, and eventually I was like, okay, well, I liked the idea of going over who was playing that week and giving maybe insight. And he was a little
Super
bit of a
valuable.
newer player. Yeah, he wasn't a little bit of he wasn't as veteran or whatever as I am. I'm an old man in the scene. So like I feel like I could give some pretty good insight, and also an idea that I was like, I think it'd be really cool to have a power ranking system. So every week somebody can go check in, where is my team this week, or how are we doing in comparison to the rest of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
league?
we'll get to the current power rankings a bit later,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I was like, okay, I think I can put my own twist on it, and take over the coverage since he wasn't doing it anymore. So yeah, I just started doing it last season, and I'm doing it this season again.
And we are all very thankful for it. By the way, the run finished. Do you realize what I did here?
Oh my God, wait. I do not know. Wait, are you? Wait, what are you cooking in this run?
No, just you can see the screen, right? What? Look at the team.
Oh, yeah. You went Yak Leech, and you have a toad on the team. That's
Tyler,
cool.
no. There's
Wait,
a theme.
this is, um, uh, um, I'm not good at this. I need, what's the theme? Uh,
It spells out your name, dude.
oh wait, oh, that's so cool.
There's
Thank you.
actually people might have picked it up. There was a really funny misplay
Well,
where I put a uh, pepper on the eel before
yeah,
I thought about
yeah,
spelling the name.
yeah. I thought, yeah, I did see that.
Well, I didn't
But oh
expect
wow.
the interview to go so long, but I'm kind of happy it is. I'm just going to go back and people can watch my failed attempts while we talk.
Okay, okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm a rambler, so.
No, it's fine. We embrace the rambling. So
Mhm.
this leads to, if you follow the arrow, this leads to the next part. We'll do some rapid
Okay,
fire here. I want this to be
okay,
like the league history because, for example, I
okay.
come in, I'm in the team tour now, but
Mhm.
I don't know like the major history of the league. So I'm gonna give some. Sorry to put you on the spot like this. I'm gonna give some categories, and you can just quickly
Mhm.
say who you think fit it. Let's start here.
Okay.
Who, in your opinion, is the Mount Rushmore of the dojo? If you had to say the four best players in the history of the dojo,
Okay, four best players.
in no particular
Okay,
order.
yeah, I'm trying to think of Dojo time. So obviously we have to have Kai. Kai Ogre is the current best player in the world. He's been top five, top 10 for a long time, and he's had number one for probably 6 months to a
Okay,
year at this
Kyogre
point.
definitely. Can I say
So
there's rumors that because my team's matched up against his this week. There's rumors
mhm,
circulating that he dodged me. He was considering Star Pack, but he
yeah,
didn't trust himself fully.
yeah, I actually have some inside knowledge on that, and he told me that he just doesn't think his pack three as refined as yours was after watching your set. So
After he saw the notepad, he backed the hell away.
exactly, he was like, "This guy is like taking notes. I can't do that." So
All right, so we got
um,
Kai.
so Kai is definitely up there. Okay, then after that, it gets very hard. So I'm trying to think of like dojo times. So I would probably say you got to throw in Rekor. And the reason being is Rekor is one of the oldest standing pros. He's
Mm,
been, he was top 1 to 3 in the world for, as long as I can remember. Of my
yep.
first tournament, he was, the 2 seed, I think. So he's been a top player for the whole time, even though recently he's stopped grinding quite as much, but he's still a good player.
He's got the history. Yep.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So him for longevity. And then if we're talking about all competitive staff, I would probably say, I mean, I'd probably throw in Katarba. Um,
Yep.
so there was a point in time where Katarba was destroying the competition. There was a meta where he was just really good. He was the best player in the world, and he went like, I think he won like 2 or 3 tournaments, and no, he won one tournament, and he only dropped like one game the whole tournament. I think
Jeez.
it went like 14-1 or something crazy.
Wild.
Um, he, yeah. So I think I'll give it to Qatar because he had a stretch of like pure dominance that we've probably like never seen.
Yep.
And then my next spot. This is where it gets tricky because you can interchange a lot of people. On how you wanna base it.
I know someone's
I'm
gonna get
gonna.
mad at you no matter who you pick
Yeah,
here, so I'm sorry.
yeah. Some honorable mentions is like Fingar, who was the best player in the world when I joined at the start.
Yep.
But I don't think he did it for long enough. He doesn't still play.
Hmm.
I'm gonna give it to Onet.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
I'll give it to Onet. Again, a long-lasting pro. He's done super well. In mini tournaments, he's done really well in team tour. So I'm gonna give it there. But there's so many good people. It's
Um,
so hard to narrow it down to four.
Damon has just private messaged me saying he's very upset with your picks. So
Yeah. Damon has the conversation. I think he's not. I think right now he's one of the best in the world. And he has been good for a long time.
Mhm.
But I think he's never been a stretch where he's like pure dominant number one.
Yeah. Okay.
Where I think a lot of those other people have been top three for very long in
Yeah.
their time period.
So Kyogre, Rekwa, um, Onet,
Katarva.
and Kataba. Okay, that's the Mount Rushmore people.
That too, I'll say, but people might be mad at me for not putting Vingar because he was the best and most dominant for a little bit.
People are going to be mad no matter who you put there. So who cares?
Yeah.
All right, next question. Who is the Bill Russell? Who is the most winningest player? Who's won the most?
So, if we're talking about Team Tour, it's Echo. Echo has 3 championships out of 7.
Hell yeah.
I think there's somebody else who has
3 out of 7 is insane.
I think yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he's got 3, and then if we're talking individually, Kyogre has the best, I think, pure win percentage. He's got the most wins total. I don't know about win percentage wise, but Kai, I think he's won before the season. He had won 31 sets. He's also, fun fact, he's only lost 1 set in the last like 3 seasons. I'm pretty sure.
Dad, he would have lost this week if he went on Star.
Yeah. If he went on pack 3, he just had to. That's how he's win so much as he dodges all the good players.
Yeah, clearly. All right, so. Yeah. Kai for individual, Echo for team. Who I don't know if you, I don't know if you can even answer this one because I'm sure there's a lot. But is there a player who's known as being like the most clutch performer, like game 7s, game 5s?
Ooh, clutch. That's an interesting one.
It's tough in SAP because it's RNG based to a big extent. But is there one player that has like a bunch of really clutch wins?
Clutch wins. Man, I mean, I'm just saying, maybe me. No, it's not me. It's not me. Clutch wins. I mean, Damon has won in some big spots. I know there was one season where it came all the way down to the wire, one of the best sets of all time. I think it was Echo versus Moose. I'm pretty sure it was Season 2 of Team Tour, and it went like it was like the series was tied like 3-3, and it went like all the way to game 7. And then that was very cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of hard again, like you said, to point out like somebody who's the most clutch. I'm probably forgetting a performance, but I think there's clutch wins all over the place. Right?
Yeah, and when I wrote that question, I assumed like, if you're in it long enough, everyone's gonna have some moments.
Yeah, I would be disappointed, or I would be ashamed to leave out when I think Rekwar reverse swept Marcoda. I'm pretty sure it was a reverse sweep. It may have been just like 15-1. It was a crazy set a long time ago in Fortune Festival, which was the biggest tournament of all time, I think. 200 and like, I don't know, 220 or 240 people or something like that.
Okay, so multiple people, but I'm gonna write down in my notepad most clutch performer Tyler.
Yes, yeah, that's true and accurate actually.
All right, this next question or this next category, who if you had to, I'm gonna make you pick one person because otherwise,
okay.
I think there could be a lot of people. Who is the one person who is like the heart and soul of the dojo? Not necessarily an organizer, but maybe it is. Who to you is the heart and soul if you had to pick one person?
Okay. It's maybe not this anymore because he stepped away, but to me, it was Moose. I don't know if you know Moose.
I've heard of Moose, yeah.
Moose has, he took on Team Tour fully in season, I believe it was 3. And the lore of it is a player named Cavalier16, an old pro. He was the one that came up with the main idea and pushed and organized Team Tour in seasons 1 and 2.
Yep.
And then between season 2 and season 3, there was a big break because nobody wanted to run the event. Nobody wanted to deal with 80 people and scheduling and dropouts, and it's a lot of work. And Moose and Damon, but Moose is the face of it. He came and he took it over. He took on a bunch of work when he's a super busy person. In college, does a bunch of different things, and he took on all of this work just to help the community and to keep the game alive. And he's genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life in general. He's a great guy, and that I would have to give him probably that because he did probably save competitive Super Auto Pets.
Shout out to Moose. That was beautiful. I got goosebumps, man.
Yeah. Whenever he stepped down, I admittedly I felt weird. I've never done this about a game, but I did get a little emotional when he decided to step away from TO.
Mm-hmm. By the way, on screen there was a long pause and then I abandoned game. No one say that I abandoned because I had a great start, but I got distracted on my phone. Anyway, who cares? Final category, most improved. Who's the player who came out of nowhere or started really slowly that you would consider to be the most improved player ever?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, so I'll give you two answers. The first one, the person that came out of nowhere, a older player named Too Many Bagels.
Bagels, yeah.
Yeah, he at a point was the best player in the world, pretty widely agreed on. And he came in, he was he was completely unseeded it was it's a double elimination bracket. I can't remember the exact tournament, and he was destroying everybody as I don't know, the 56th seed or something.
Yeah, right.
He beat Rekwar and all the top players at the time. And it got to the point where the rumors going around was it was somebody's alt account. Because they were there's no way this player who just randomly showed up and destroyed all these people, it was not an alt account. So in terms of coming onto the scene and just dominating, I would probably have to give it to Bagels. In terms of the most improvement, there's probably a couple cases here. I think the first one that comes to mind is Knob. Knob came in again as a random player. He was on Moose's team in season 3, Monka Moose, and he was the 7th or 8th seed out of 9 people. He wasn't a top player at all. Watching all of his sets, he was very heavily criticized, especially about play speed. He played super fast, and he still plays extremely fast. So yeah, I think in terms of somebody who joined Team Tour and improved a bunch, I think Knob is a big piece in that because now he's looked at to be a really good player. And at a point he was looked at to be top 10 or 5 or whatever. Another great example of this is Equi.
My guy!
Equi, in every single Team Tour season, just like me. But it was a little different because I was probably a little bit better and more experienced in comp when Team Tour started than Equi was.
Yeah.
And for example, it was a really weird system. But in season 1, we had 6 teams of 7 people, and it was a lot smaller. And Equi was on Onet's team, with Kai and Tangle. It was actually a really crazy team. But they made playoffs, and how we had it formatted before was in playoffs. It was still only 5v5 for each week. So you would bench 2 players. So not even everybody on the team would play in playoffs.
Wow.
And Equi was one of the people that got benched. He didn't even play in the playoffs. And I think that shows that, now he is looked at to be, a top player. Even in this draft, he was ranked to go whatever, 10th or 12th or whatever it was. And Equi is a very good player. Somebody that I've played a lot in Team Tours. I've played him 3 or 4 times in Team Tour. I've played him in other tournaments. Super nice guy. Even though I did have a secret rivalry with him because we would go pretty even. But I love Equity. He's a good player, and he's definitely improved a lot as well.
I actually want to, before we move on, I want to touch on two of those people you mentioned. Nob, I have a joking grudge against him because he promised he was going to draft me and he didn't. So, like, Nob, I hate you, but
Yeah.
also I kind of love you. He was one of the main people who, like, pushed for me to join. So, shout out Nob. And it worked out
Yeah.
great because I went to Equi, who is such a G, man. Like,
Yeah.
for him to take an hour out of his time just to review my set on stream so I could watch it when I woke up, that, like, blows my mind, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, Equi is a super nice guy. I did the podcast, my podcast with him, and he's somebody in one of the current events that I'm running,
Yeah.
and he's super great to schedule with and to talk to. And yeah, I love that.
People should check that interview out on Tyler's channel. It's so good. That's actually what inspired me to do this interview. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the final category, and this may take a while, but we'll see how it goes. I've titled this category "The Dojo Process,"
Okay.
and these questions are tailored towards like new players who have just joined or people who are thinking about joining. And here's my first question: in your recent power rankings, you said that you were talking about my team, and you said that the main thing you look for in a new player is decision making. So, like,
Yeah.
can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that?
So this is the big thing, and I say this a lot, especially when I see new players or when I'm helping coach new players. I say it a lot, especially towards like positioning, where my personal feeling is I'm a big fan of having reasoning. So I don't care if your positioning is god awful or it's just really not good. You shouldn't do this, but if you had a reason in your mind on like this is why I did this positioning for this reason, that is what I really look for in new players because that is the players who end up being the best.
Yeah.
Everybody can learn like, okay, this pet is good, this pet is good. When I have this guy, I should take this guy. That's just like very flow charty. Where like the players that you see that are the best are the people who think through their decisions. Like, okay, I'm doing this because of I'm playing around this, or I'm taking this because later on I'm gonna need this. So players that play with reasoning and meaning, I think it's very, very important. And that's what I saw a lot in your set, where you like, some players they tend to play too fast and just play what they know. And I think, I really liked watching you play because you thought through all of your decisions, you talked out loud, you had a reasoning at least behind it, even if it was a bad reasoning, you had a reason. So and that's a lot more than a lot of new players can say. So that's something I definitely look for in players.
Yeah, I swear I wasn't fishing for compliments on that, but thank you.
No,
No, I know what you
for
mean
sure.
because like when you said that I was thinking through my decisions even though they weren't always correct. I think that just makes sense. Like, no, it doesn't matter if it's super auto pets or anything. Like, the only way that I'm ever going to get on the level of you top guys is by actually understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing, and also using a notepad.
Yeah. Which we might have to have a conversation after this interview on if that's a legal thing to do or not.
I clarified. I mean, look, it's mainly, dude. If you look,
No.
it's actually very little writing, and that's my week one notes down there.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. I wouldn't. I would say it's fine.
So you might have just answered the next question in that answer, but I'll ask it anyway. What's the biggest mistake you see new players make?
Yeah, biggest mistake. I mean, it's just this is the very Kai way of saying it. Kai's biggest advice to new players is buy the good pets and don't buy the bad pets. That's it. That's all you need to know to be good at this game. You buy the good stuff and you skip the bad stuff, which is very broad. And why Kai, and he will say himself, isn't great at coaching new players. Because he's like, what is your reasoning for doing this at all? Like, it makes zero sense. But yeah, I think the biggest mistake I see, one man, this stresses me out even with other people. Is like they just play too fast.
Yeah.
And I can say from personal experience because, um, when I first started, I played too fast too.
Hmm.
I played way too fast, mainly because I was more of an arena player, and I didn't. I'm very impatient,
I think
so
that's it, right?
you
It's
know.
it's it's arena habits.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So like, I think speed is a big issue, and that's man, like that's what I try to tell all of my bottom seed players. I can leak some of my secret strats where like, if I see players playing too fast, I tell them you're not allowed to click the intern button.
If
You have to
I
wait the whole time here, and you have to think about it because that is a big, a big thing. Um,
because that is a big thing.
yes, yes. So now, if you win your next set, I get credit, just like last time, where you said you watched my beautiful Pack 3 gameplay to win.
It was good. The chat was just like flaming you the whole time. You know what? I think that
Yeah.
even though you played fine from my perspective, but don't my opinion holds no stock. I think it's funny
Mhm.
how in the chat of like whenever I'm watching a set, all the
Mhm.
high level players are like analyzing the living crap out of the every single decision,
Oh,
right? And like
yeah.
that comes actually I think this video will go up on Monday. On Tuesday will be like my week 2 set video. And I touch on this.
Mhm.
I think that just comes like you earn that after being around streams and playing for a long time where you can do that, right? But
Mhm.
I'm trying not to get lost in the sauce too much
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean?
I think people, especially with new players, they're a little too micro optimization pilled. Where
Exactly.
a thing that I've really started to believe, especially more like in this meta and the way the game plays, is like the way I think of it is like good enough. So like, it doesn't matter if you are playing pure optimal or like, maybe this line is slightly worse than the thing you could have done, but like it is a good enough line to where it's still competent, it's still good, it still builds a good board. Even though it might not be like super optimized and like the best thing you could have done, it's still
Yeah.
like a good board that is still good enough to win. Um, and I mean, let's be real. I mean, Super Odafets is, competitively, like, it pretty much brings out all of the micromanaging nitpickers.
Well,
So,
it
like,
it comes from a
you
good
know,
place, obviously. Like
yeah,
people want
mhm,
to optimize the way they play, and so do I.
of
Like
course.
I would like to
Mhm,
get to that point, but I can't just like walk into the team tour and then by week 2 be at that
mhm.
level. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody
and
could.
yeah, like I obviously try my best to optimize things, but like I do think people are, especially with watching new players, are a little too harsh.
Hmm.
Um, and to what you said earlier too about people flaming me during my set, which I'm used to it by now. I've done this for a long enough time, and I'm the streamer, so I'm the butt of the joke a lot of the time, which is okay. Um, I also do respect them rooting against me a little bit. That was probably the most I've ever seen me get rooted against in my own stream before. But to be fair,
It's because you were playing a 5 seed, right?
I was playing Pikes, who was
Yeah,
in
everyone loves
a
an
ejector
underdog,
spot.
man.
Exactly, yeah. He was in a 5 spot. It's a team that I have admittedly ripped on a little bit in my power. Like when I
Ah,
ranked all of
okay,
the
okay.
teams,
Yeah.
I said that team was a team that had 3 5 seeds on it. So they counted 3 5 seeds out of their. So I deserved a little bit of the hate, and everybody likes saying that. You know, so a little bit of extra lore with me is I'm a very big Pack One fan. All of I always play Pack One for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when Pack One was not very good, when Pack Two was super strong, I would still play Pack One because I think Pack One is the most skillful and fun.
Pack
Um,
one being
so
pack one being turtle pack for anyone who's
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
Turtle Pack. So anytime I play any pack that isn't Turtle Pack, everybody automatically assumes that I suck and did not practice at all. Which, believe it or not, I hate losing so much that I will practice a pack even though I might not like the pack. So.
Yeah, okay. Um, actually, that leads perfectly into the next question. We'll use me as the test case, right? I
Okay.
never play base packs. The only time I ever did it was when I was grinding the gauntlet and when I host gauntlet tournaments. But prior to this team tour season starting, I didn't play a single base pack for about 2 months. Only customs. So then I come
Yeah.
in, it's decided it's best for me to start on Star Pack, and I have like 6 days to learn it before my match, right? I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on Star Pack now. If you were me, would you start trying to learn other packs slowly, or would you just lock in on the one pack?
So that's an interesting question because before I would always tell you lock in on one pack because Team Tour is not usually formatted in this way.
Yeah, you normally are locked on a pack.
Yeah, so in this you're doing mirror matches where you're always playing somebody who's on the same pack as you, whereas normally you would be playing any of the the main static packs.
Yep.
So in a normal Team Tour season, I would say pack diversification doesn't really matter. It matters more that like if you're a pack 1 player, you know how to play against all the other packs, and if you're a pack 2 player, you know how to play against all the other packs. More so than playing the other packs, you just need to know the play style.
Yeah,
So,
got it.
For example, quick example is like pack 1 versus pack 2. If you're the pack 1 player, you want to play a lot more tempo heavy because pack 2's in game is way better than yours. So you end up taking some more lines that try to kill them faster than scaling lines. And this format, I think it kind of depends on a couple things. It depends on who's on your team, the packs they play, what you need, what teams you're going to end up playing. Because, the best way to do it, obviously, like in general, the idea when you do matchups is like, we want to get the best matchup for this player where he's marginally enough better to beat his opponent without giving up too much value and skill in other matchups.
Exactly.
So, I will say, I said this in my recap videos a little bit too, is I think right now the lowest skill diff pack, no offense, is
Star
pack
Pack
3 in the mirror. I think it's probably one of the easier ones to learn and to get good at quickly. So I would say that you feel like your team, you're probably going to be playing Pack 3 a lot. I would imagine that you're probably going to be a Pack 3 player for now. Maybe occasionally get thrown on like a weekly pack. So I would say refining your Pack 3 is probably your best option. And then if you happen to get thrown on another pack in the week, then you can start practicing that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
for this, I would say continue to practice the mirror. And then once you feel like you have completely learned it inside and out, then you can maybe start working on some other stuff. But yeah, usually if we're just talking about general, you're trying to get better for every season, I would say make sure that you're practicing one of the packs that are competitively viable at the time. Because in static packs, it's bound to be where there's going to be packs that just aren't good enough. For example, if this was a static pack only tournament where you didn't do any mirror matches, I would never have anybody on my team play pack 3. Because pack 3, compared to the other packs, is worse when you're playing the other packs. But in the mirror, obviously, it's the same
It's
thing.
okay,
so.
dude. On that note, earlier today, I tried playing ranked against all packs on Star.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you high roll or you get absolutely mashed.
Yeah. I mean, it's either you hit early eel in the shoot bill or early leash in the shoot bill, or you're dead.
Or you're toast. Dude, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
It's definitely the worst pack compared to the other packs right now competitively.
Yeah, okay. So so basically focus on one and get a grasp, and then if it's permissible or if your team might need it, then start to like branch out.
That's what I would say, yeah.
Next question. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I need to give a bit of context here. As a kid, I used to sleepwalk a lot. And I'm not saying like just go for like a little walk down the hallway. I was proficient. Like I was basically like, and what's funny is the next morning I would wake up and I remembered it happening, but it's like autopilot when it actually was in the moment.
Mm.
Dude, I was on a holiday in
Mm.
Bali and I ran down 3 flights of stairs and then was sprinting straight towards the pool.
Oh my god.
So a lot of things happen, and I don't sleepwalk anymore. But I do have a thing where if I wake up in the middle of the night, I just need to eat something sweet. It's actually really messed
Okay.
up, and often I like will go to the fridge and I'll eat all the chocolate in the fridge. I'm talking like 2 blocks of chocolate. I'll eat it and go back to
Mm.
bed, and then I often wake up with a sore tum tums. So
Oh yeah.
so what should I what would you do in my situation?
Um. So I mean, this is a little bit outside of my realm of knowledge. I would say that maybe try before bed having a little bit of sweets. To where maybe you don't have 2 blocks, but you have a little bit to hold yourself
But
over.
won't the sugar keep me
May
awake?
I mean, that's the thing is you have to gauge yourself. So maybe you eat the sweets a couple hours before, like 2 hours before you go to bed, or something, or that's would be my advice. But um, I'm not a professional on this, so maybe you need to, you know, um, there used to be a player in the community named Tay Theory, and he is going to school to be a like psychologist or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a podcast where he had some people on and would talk about things like that, or mental trauma. So
Maybe put me in
that's
contact with
a
him.
yeah, I might be able to get you his Discord.
And actually, only one last question. This has been
Okay.
absolutely awesome, man. Thank you for this. I want to finish
Mm.
on this.
Of course. Yeah.
Why? And this is probably like a very broad question, but simply put, why do you love the dojo? Why do you love competitive SAP?
Mm. Yeah, great, great question. I think the dojo is a lot different than any other thing that I've ever been a part of. You know, like I said, I'm a very competitive person. I've played in, many different games and tried to, be competitive in them, and I've been in a lot of different comp scenes. I used to play competitive like Fortnite and things like that. Um, and God, I mean, it was such a breath of fresh air because I genuinely like this isn't like me like trying to give a PR promotion, but like the dojo community and the SAP community competitively is like amazing. There's so many nice, cool people. Like I've never
Yes.
like I this gets said all the time in my streams or anything like that, and it's just people saying like, man, this like community is like so awesome. Like there's so many cool people. Everybody is so nice to each other. You obviously have a couple bad apples here and there, but
Of course.
for the most part, everybody is like super, super nice. Super easy to get along with. Everybody is willing to give advice and give coaching. Nobody's like holding
Yep.
anything back. Like even like right now, like Sag, Super Auto Gaming, he like sits and like help like he coaches other people that aren't even on his team.
Dude, he
Um
when I first joined, I mentioned, hey, like I might
mhm.
need some help with Star Pack. I don't know what I'm doing, and he's just like, anytime, brother. Like,
Yeah. Eh,
and
yeah, for
every so
sure.
many people are like that as well.
Yeah, and it's truly it is really awesome. I think everybody in the community is super cool. It's super easy to get into. It's super welcoming. The team tour format really allows for people of all skill levels to get in. And this season, I will say it's a little different because you're gonna end up getting placed against hired players all of the time. Like this week, you played Violet, who was seated a lot above you in
Yep.
theory. Um, Usually how team tour works is you have the list of people. Let's say you have 7 people on a team, um, and you can only play players within 2 spots of your seed range.
Mm.
Where this season it's different because it's just mirror matches. But usually how team tour works is okay. Let's say I'm a brand new player. I'm the worst player on my team. I'm the 7th seed. I'm the 7th best player on my team. And when teams do matchups, the best player you can play on the other team would be their fifth seed. You can't go any higher than that.
Yeah,
So
right.
you get a lot of reps, a lot of matches, a lot of coaching, and you get to play players that are also maybe newer or
Around your
maybe not as
level.
good. Exactly. And if you're a good player, then you get to play the good players. You get to play a lot of competition. So that's why I think it's so Dojo is so great. So many great people. So many great tournaments for new and experienced players.
Dude, so if I can, I know I'm interviewing you, but I want to extend on that. So
Okay.
I come in, right? My first matchup. Obviously, I'm sort of like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things happening and you're sort of all over the place, right? I
Of
get
course. Yeah.
so many people reaching out to me to help me, either from other teams or even people who have been around the comp scene, offering to help me without me even saying anything. So straight away, I'm like, okay, this is incredible. Then the match
Yeah.
begins. I'm streaming it on Twitch. A whole bunch of people I
Mhm.
know are in the league, but I haven't actually spoke to, are in there supporting me and showing love. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
okay, they're like you, for example, and Damon's in there, and Eda, a whole bunch
Mhm.
of people are in there. Then the match
Mhm.
finishes. Violet, my opponent, is super cool to
Mhm.
me, like saying she's going to
Oh
support me
yeah.
going forward. Violet's
Mhm.
captain is messy. Like, I just, it's this is
Mhm.
we're technically enemies, but
Mhm.
I went from feeling so confronted to within 1 week, I feel
Mhm.
like I'm being made a part of it. When I would imagine a lot
Mhm.
of comp scenes, or maybe what you're saying with the peanut gallery in the past, people are
Mhm.
like hesitant to welcome in outsiders. It's been the opposite. I've been flooded with welcomes.
Yeah,
So
and we've
cool.
really tried to promote that and have tournaments that are in that style too, where we can do that. But by the way, your set is like one of the most entertaining things I've ever watched in Super Auto Fest. I mean, that was pure content. Like I know during the set, me and Titus, one of the other Tios, we're messaging back and forth like, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing! This is like how have we
Thank
not
you,
got him
man.
before? This is like pure content." So yeah, and I do want to say that even though before it was a little more alienated, I think that it really comes down to like Saturn has great people, and we've built it over so much time with so many great people. Like immediately when I joined, I played Cass, who at the time, they were one of the people that were in the Sands Invitational. They did pretty good in it.
Hmm.
Uh, they were one of the top players, and they immediately were like, "Hey, let's play," And we played, and I actually won somehow the first game. I was like, "What is going on?" And then like within a week of being in that community, like I played Fingar, who was the number one player in the entire world at the time, like by far. And I was like, wow, I mean, this is like crazy that I'm even like playing these people who will even like welcome to play me. And that, that's people, Snixer, Onet, Cavaliers, Cleanup, all these people who were super early on in the community just like completely welcomed me in. And it's really always been great, even though it might not seem like it.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's really it blew me away. Wait. So
Mm.
three things I want to finish on. Number
Yeah.
one, the
Mm.
I was worried that I might have been taken the wrong way in the set with Violet, like as if because I won, that's why I was acting the way I did. I want to make it clear to people that if I lost or if I lose, it'll be the same energy. Like that's just
No,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
me.
No, yeah, you're great. We need more content figures like you.
Yeah, well, you as well, man.
Mm.
The second thing is that if you're someone that's thinking about joining or even thinking about just coming in as a viewer, because like the set schedule gets published, you can come in and watch all the games and get to know the league even without playing. If you're thinking
Mm.
about doing either of those things, just do it, man. Just do it. Like
Yeah,
I compared the dojo to the Phantom Troop. I don't know if you saw that video.
I have not.
But like, if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. You'll be blown away at what comes back in return as a welcome. And the final thing, Tyler, you are. I've been watching your content for all of a week and a half, and I have loved every
Mm.
second of it. Whether it's me
I
being
appreciate
upset
that.
at where you ranked our team, or me learning from you, or me dancing to songs in your streams.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
anybody that enjoys my content will enjoy your content. And like for the video for this, the links will be below. Go follow him, people. Go check out his stuff. Tyler, thank you so much,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, and I try my best to make innovative as good content as possible, and try to make Super Auto Pets entertaining. That's what I try to do.
Hell yeah. All right, keep it rolling, man. Goodbye, people.
Yeah, yeah. Bye.